Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope everybody's doing good tonight. I am multi-streaming on Rumble, and hope my signal's coming through good and clear. And I'm going to play a couple of intro videos as per usual. Give people time to get in the chats. We're going to talk about what's going on with Iran. The clock is ticking. Things aren't looking good. And this weirdo you see on the screen showed up in court today. Oh, my gosh. So anyway, you all come on in, get a cup of coffee or whatever you like, and we'll go over everything that happened today. Let's see. I'll cut my mic off and play some videos.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. Do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment.
ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS, okay? He's the founder. He founded ISIS. And I would say the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton. They have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person.
He's absolutely going to come back with full vengeance the next time around.
Now think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. Our Constitution really does give the president tremendous power to destroy. This will be something we could never have imagined. Now the gloves are off.
Some of Trump's close political allies told him they are working on figuring out the identities of the FBI and DOJ staff and forming lists.
I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist enforcement of the law. The deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn, and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies.
Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care of it. That's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. If you want to really see something...
Donald, you must move your head.
Shenzo, you died, and I'd never got the chance to say goodbye.
Donald, I don't say goodbye. You need to remember your training. Move your head. I cannot explain. I must go.
Wait, Shenzo, if I never see you again,
and see you later, Space Cowboy.
But you will see me again, because there's one last thing that I must do.
Months old, and if you want to really see something that's said,
Thank you, Kinza. I'll guard the roads, and I'll guard the skies.
Man, I tell you what, I forgot how much that last video can get you, get you right here. I got my thumb and fist, I'm going right up against my chest, right here. That's where it gets you. So anyway, I figured I'd play it because we're going to be talking about this creep and all these other creeps that have been wishing they could do the same thing and be successful. And we know who they are. And I tell you, I remember me talking about that character on Twitch who is the largest social influencer around, named Hassan Piker. Well, he got suspended from Twitch. I'll talk about that in a second. I want to say hi to the nice folks coming in. How you doing, Wayne? I know I got a thumbs up. Ha ha. Thank you, Wayne. The Sissy's here. Let's see. Wow, the chats are moving fast. I'll be darned. Let's see. I might say people twice. I don't know. Kicking Bird, how you doing? Sherry's here. Miss Minder Sue. Linda Marie. Angel. Robin's here. Doc's here. KNS Cleanup. Debbie. Tracy. Yvonne. Nice to see you. Roland. Aha, he brought a rose. We've got Angel Rose here. We got, yeah. Ha, Gary's here. Boom. Gary said boom. Well, that's, oh, right. I got somebody, my goodness. I got to give Gary some booms. I got to do some special effects for Gary. Because when he puts boom in there, it means he went to buy me a coffee. So, whoa. Oh, did I leave? Whoa, wait a second. I hit the button, wrong button. There we go. Let me get back to where I was. I was at the boom. These chats are moving fast tonight. What was I talking? I was talking about that Hassan Piker. Let's see. Tracy said she'd been retired for, but it's still TGIF, right? 7 years. I forgot where I was at here. I can't go but so far back. I'm getting overwhelmed with the chats. So if I don't catch your name right off the bat, there I was with Gary, and then I'm at Pappy Two Bears, right? Ha ha. Yeah, we got a good introduction. I like it too. Usually they're boring if you see them over and over again, but these, I think, all have a meaning behind them. And most people, we get new people in here. You know, I'll be happy to explain what the portent of some of these things are. Whoa. Ravens, how you doing? MS Motorsports, how you doing? Let me sit here and see if I can give Gary some booms for going to buy me a coffee. Pow! I got him right in his face. Boom! Pow! 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 I want to, let me see, I want to do this one. That's taking too long. I want to see if I can, where's my machine gun? No, here's a bomb. Here we go. Where's that going to go off? Don't hit Mr. T. Ah, pow! 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 Thank you, Gary. Let me, where's my bullet? My bullet holes. I got to get a better system. I want to be able to do sound effects and all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, you never know what will be down the road. Hi, Kathy. How you doing? I appreciate it, Gary. Back at you, buddy. And Roland, what was I thinking about? They got a reward out. You know, I was talking about how we can do the reverse bootlegging and start smuggling booze up to Canada like they used to do. Bring it into the U.S. from Canada. We're going to do it backwards. But I don't know. There's something else. Here you go. See if you can find this guy. I'll help you corral him right here. Look at him. Look at him. $10 million reward. Look at that shirt. Look at the seashells all over it. Look at that goofball mustache. Look at those beady eyes. Look at those ears. Take a good look at him, because a former Canadian Olympic snowboarder, you can probably find more pictures of him online, has been added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitive list for running what federal prosecutors called a transnational drug ring. So that was reported by ABC7. So, yeah, we can cash in on that $10 million reward. So make a note of that. And if you need any help throwing in the back of a truck or whatever we got to do, I'll see what I can do to come up and help you. Ha ha. Goodbye. He's gone. So, make bootleggers great again. That's right. Retired from the laborers union. Oh, really? Construction. I'll be darned. Well, I've done my share of that stuff too. I'm a jack of all trades and master of none. So this nitwit we're looking at on the screen here went to court today, and Jonathan Turley, I think it was Jonathan Turley, might have been Greg Jarrett. Yeah, it was Greg Jarrett, was saying he was putting up a weak insanity defense. And Trump gave a press conference where he was talking about phones with strange markings on. I played that clip for you yesterday. Said he had 6 phones. Well, what came out today, I guess, in his, I guess they put it all together in it like a bond hearing, you know, even though he ain't getting no damn bond. You still got to have a presentation of evidence, probable cause for the charges, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a lawyer, but that's what you always see in these cases. Turns out he had 18 cell phones. 18 of them. 3,000 photos. He had been in the area for a month, case in place. I showed you pictures yesterday where he was in Ukraine. We talked in the past. He was in Turkey. And he, who were you working with? I mean, that'd be the Guantanamo question. You know what I'm saying? Well, a board that has water in it. If I'm allowed to say it that way. Get some answers out of that clown. But I think they have quite a bit of answers. And we see a lot of things gelling together, and we're starting to see a big picture. And we know there's a big picture. We know there is a operation ongoing. People get mocked when they call it the plan. Okay. But it is a military intelligence operation. It's a counterinsurgency and PSYOP against PSYOP, except with our PSYOP, we use the truth, and it's a lot easier to simply get the truth out, keep your story straight because it's true. And they have to fiddle with lies, deception, emotion, and they're running out of ammo, right? So anyway, what else happened? We had Christy Noem. I think I got the articles. I'll pull them up as I go. She announced that she has the 3 individuals who were leaking details about ICE raids are in custody. And I think they're facing 10 years in a joint. Isn't that right? But like I said, I'll have to pull it up to get exactly how many years they're facing. And then there's, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 other characters that Kash Patel nabbed for giving away secrets, military secrets, caught them on tape. I think I got a video about that too. So, like I said, there's a big picture gelling together. Here is something that came up out of the blue. How much you want to bet that the Trump State Department had something to do with this? South Korea court cancels impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol arrest. I like this clear cut. I mean, I was suspicious of them. CLR cut. I was suspicious of them. They've been putting out some stuff. You know, breaking news from South Korea. Seoul Central District Court canceled the arrest of impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol in connection to last year's martial law declaration. They're putting a shocked face up like, oh no. Well, the reason he declared martial law is that he said the Congress had been infiltrated by a bunch of commies. Okay, sound familiar? After spending time in a detention center, I thought he was in house arrest. He's been released following a court ruling that his arrest was not legally justified. His lawyers argued that the prosecution had delayed filing charges, making the detention invalid. What does this mean for South Korea? Will this decision ignite political protests? Well, now that the CIA doesn't have as much money as it used to, I don't know. Or is it a sign of judicial fairness? He was allowed to do it under the Constitution. Is Yoon planning a political comeback? I'm sure he is. Stay tuned as we break down all the shocking details. All right, we'll stay tuned. We'll see what kind of shocking details you come up with. Yeah, I played that yesterday, Debbie, and I played Trump's response to it. Hi, Flannel Cheese, how you doing? I'm just looking, see if who else came in. Hi, Marie, nice to see you. Okay, so anyway, I've got various clips, things to play. This idiot is saying now he's insane. We knew that already, okay? But he's not legally insane to the point that he would be excused from facing the music. Like Greg Jarrett said, he knew enough to plot it out. A distracted, scrambled mind would not. He knew enough to try to flee because he knew what he did was wrong. All that intricate planning with the phony license plates, getting everything that showed he was cognitively aware. Speaking of somebody not being cognitively aware, I should talk about this story. It's a sad situation. But you know how when you see somebody high profile like Gene Hackman pass away, people go, oh, is it the Hollywood elites or people trying to steal his royalties. I don't know how many of you saw the story on this. I got a couple of different reports. Betsy Arakawa, the wife of late Gene Hackman, died of hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, New Mexico officials said Friday. There have been fewer 900 cases in the United States over nearly 30 years, according to the CDC. Anyway, there she is. What is it and what are the symptoms? Well, I tell you, it's similar to, whoops. There we go. Here we go. I got this one here. A rare disease transmitted through rodent urine droppings or saliva, officials said. And what it is, this happens to people sometimes from bird, like people go in a barn or an area where there's a lot of bird droppings, in the attic where there might be bats, and you breathe in the dust or dried excrement, and it gets in your lungs and it turns into like a fungal infection or a viral infection from that infiltration in your lungs. I wouldn't relegate it to just rodents, but the syndrome causes flu-like symptoms that can progress to more severe illness, where people have trouble breathing, according to CDC, and people mistake it for the flu, and it's more of a bacterial or fungal infection where it ends up residing in your body and getting worse and worse. So, let's see. The reports these are so small and hard to see, that she passed away about a week before Gene Hackman did. He was suffering from Alzheimer's, they disclosed. So it was, and I thought that it was what they were referring to as a series of unfortunate events. And he probably wasn't even aware that she wasn't living anymore and was wandering about the house. But anyway, here we go.
Breaking news out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. Officials just wrapping up a press conference on the mysterious death of actor Gene Hackman and his wife. Fox's Alicia Acuna is live in Denver with the latest. Alicia.
Hi, Will. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department just wrapping up a news conference just a minute ago, and the chief medical examiner for the state of New Mexico says it's reasonable to conclude that Betsy Arakawa, also known as Betsy Hackman, died 7 days before her husband, actor Gene Hackman.
The cause of death for Miss Betsy Hackman, aged 65 years, is hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. The manner of death is natural. The cause of death for Mr. Gene Hackman, aged 95 years, is hypertensive and atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, with Alzheimer's disease as a significant contributory factor.
Two-time Oscar winner and his wife Betsy were found dead in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home on February 26th. According to the sheriff, their bodies were found in separate rooms and showed signs of mummification. The initial investigation found Hackman appeared to have fallen or collapsed in a mudroom off the home's kitchen. Arakawa was found on the floor of a bathroom, a space heater next to her head, and on the counter, an open prescription bottle with pills scattered around. A search of the home by law law enforcement recovered 2 cell phones, thyroid and blood pressure medication, Tylenol, medical records, and a calendar. Their bodies and that of one of their dogs were discovered by a maintenance worker at the sprawling home. Up until now, the sheriff had said foul play was not a factor, but we were waiting for today's update because he repeatedly said, Will, that it was suspicious. Now, hantavirus is a respiratory illness that is transferred from rodents to people. Will?
Wow, thank you for that, Alicia. She died 7 days before him. What a detail that probably deserves a little more investigation.
Well, like I said, it could have come from any other number of sources, animal droppings or stuff like that. But anyway, if you ever spent time in a nursing home and talked to people, I've talked to veterans in their 90s. One was 100 years old. They'll get back to their room from lunch, and 20 minutes later, they'll be asking, when is lunch? They don't even remember. But they can walk around, they can eat, they can, reminisce, but they don't remember things. So, there's all, hi, Theodosis, how you doing? Hi, Lone Wolf, how you doing? So anyway, it's whatever happened. So that's the latest report. I'm just going to leave it at that. But anyway, I did have another report that said that, but I'm not going to go into all that detail. Anyway, yeah, I see what you guys are saying. Yeah, a distraction, what have you. 95 is 95, and I've heard she was anywhere from 63 to 65. You get a infection in your lungs from animal droppings or fungal. That is tough at any age. So I don't know. I wasn't there, as they say. So anyway, I had this in my studio. Where is it? This person here, I think, is going to be on the chopping block next, right here. Nicole Wallace. This was about a week ago. Somebody posted this, and I never got around to it in my studio. Nicole Wallace is angry. CNN's interviewing the former president. This was back when he was running. She was angry he was being interviewed. When Donald Trump has a platform to talk, the worst elements of our society are just watching. Yeah, they need to get rid of her and need to get rid of Rachel Maddow. Here's the View, the Sunny Hostin. You figure they could take a hint. I don't know if they're trying to get themselves fired or what. But remember I said that those 10 Democrats that voted to censor Al Green, they would never forgive him? Well, here's a sign of it right here. And you also hear her talking about people getting a little rowdy, if you know what I mean.
But it didn't unite them all because 10 Democrats voted to censor Green.
Wow. Do you want a list of the 10?
Do you want to hear their names?
Yes, I do.
Why go after them, too? Go after the Republicans.
Because they don't know how to fight and be part of an opposition party. Representative Green gave them the example. The Democrats are not meeting the moment. It is very clear that Medicaid is on the table. It is very clear that Social Security is on the table. It is very clear that people will die. The baby boomers, the civil rights generation, they knew what they had to do. They were willing to fight and die for their rights. This generation of Congress, they are not meeting the moment. This is an existential crisis.
And also, I might point out, some of them are from the most liberal states like New York, Hawaii, California.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
Okay,
they should have all walked out with him.
That's because they know they're cooked. She's saying they're from liberal constituencies. But the bottom line is, when we get voter ID and we keep plowing forward with telling the truth like we are, they lose influence. We start getting our voice out more. Those 10 congresspeople know they've got to change or they're getting out. And so, but this Sonny Hosen talking about fighting, talking about people are going to die because Medicaid being cut, just bald-faced lies and fear-mongering. And we can't continue with that. We can't. I know we have free speech, but there's boundaries. There's boundaries. So Sonny Hosen, Rachel Maddow, and Nicole Wallace, look for them to be putting an egg in their shoe and beating it. Here, I got this clip of Steve Miller. And I think it's good. I think it needs to be played. And I think, somebody with an opposite point of view trips on my broadcast, they'll see this. Like Al Green was saying, you have no mandate. Well, here's what Steve Miller's got to say about that.
Did you see me on The View Tuesday afternoon? Did you see when they said, we don't believe there's a Trump mandate? I said, oh, really? Did you see the former press secretary for the White House come on? I think Stephen A. is wrong. I don't believe what he said is correct. Donald Trump has the lowest approval ratings in the first month or so, or the 2 months of a presidency in American history. Oh, really? But didn't he win all the swing states? Didn't his popularity elevate within 89% of the counties in the United States of America? Didn't his popularity elevate within the black community, the Hispanic community, and the young voters? Didn't he win the popular vote for the first time in 20 years as a Republican nominee? Didn't he also win the Electoral College vote? Isn't he in control of the White House? Don't the Republicans have the House and the Senate? All of that happened, but there's no Trump mandate. You see the bullshit? Is it bullshit, or is it just that the Democrats are so damn lost that they're actually going to convince themselves they can do the same old and still regain power, both in the midterms and in the 2028 election? I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen, because Trump has the power now, and he's manipulating the proceedings. And in case you didn't notice, one of his top boys, Elon Musk, Doge, owns X. Who else was at the inauguration? Jeff Bezos. The man running TikTok. And Lord knows who else. And then you got folks like Candace Owens, who's a Trump supporter, along with various others with their microphones, their cameras, and their audience. If you think the liberals are overcoming that, you go ahead and watch Schumer and those 21 other senators talk their drivel. J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or somebody will be the next president in 2028. You'll have nobody but yourselves to blame.
Kind of hard to argue with any of that. And he was on The View. And, they had to pretty much behave themselves with him. I can't equalize that sound. How you doing, Lone Wolf? Nice to see you. Hi, David. Nice to see you. But anyway, some of these other clips have got better sound to them. But he brought up Zuckerberg. He brought up Bezos, and these people that have never, before these unions of them coming to be like Putin said, dogs wagging their tails. He said, the European Union was going to come to Trump like dogs wagging their tails. That is what I think of when I see how Zuckerberg came around, when I see how Bezos came around. Now we're seeing a $21 billion expenditure by who? BlackRock. I'll have to pull that story up. $21 billion by BlackRock to guard or to run the ports down in Panama Canal. I think Trump has got them. All these big movers and shakers that were behind all the disruption, I think they've been told to walk the chalk. Ms. Minsu, all the booms, I can't see your message except no longer takes debit cards. Oh, buy me a coffee? It should. It should. Yeah, I think that they've captured. I guess that's a good way to look at it. That's what I was going to bring up, Gary, the assets. And let me tell you something. Going on the thesis I was discussing the other night, when they are involved in something that is a high priority of national security, I guarantee you that they have to work with the Department of Defense in order to finance that, to get the approvals to run it, to get the security clearances to run it. They have to go through the State Department to work with the Panamanian government. Okay? All that stuff requires security clearance, and it requires a company to give access, because military intelligence and the National Security Administration have got to go through a company to make sure there's no threats to this country, no threats to our national security. And they basically gave the keys up. Gave up the keys. And we know how much nefarious stuff. Thomas Crooks was in a BlackRock commercial, right? So was this creep in a BlackRock commercial too? I think you got to click on. I can't really think of how you do it, Ms. Mindersu. I think there's two credit card. You click on one thing, and a debit card, you click on another. I'm not sure. So, Roland, we get that guy. We get that $10 million for that guy that's on the loose. We'll put on a big pot of coffee. I'd smoke some big cigars too. Jess and Bean, how you doing? It might just be a fluke, Miss Minsu. You know, they got a help thing there. You can contact them, and I can contact them also. So, nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. But anyway, so you see this. I hope you all see what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, as I talked about, the economy needs businesses that we preserve to a certain extent. The business itself is not the enemy. It's the ones who have infiltrated and gotten control over the businesses that are in there. iconic things like Disney, okay? We know they have hedonists, and I'll just go ahead and say it, Satanists, Wiccan witches, whatever you can think of has gotten in there. But that doesn't mean all the employees, all the shareholders, all the little kids that like Mickey Mouse and all, we don't bury the whole thing. And like Trump was saying about the Capitol building, and he put out about D.C., Muriel Bowser or whatever her name is, they painted over that big Black Lives Matter mural. They're out there mowing. They're cleaning up homeless camps because Trump said he was going to take over, do a federal takeover if they didn't straighten up their act. And they drug their feet or thought he forgot, I guess. But he put out a warning, and they have been cracking the whip and get out there, get it done. And he said, our big, beautiful Capitol building, these are our historical landmarks. We can do an exorcism. I mean, we can get the stench out of that. But we're not going to let them take over our stuff. It's like I got an argument with a guy who wanted to give away this state, give away that state. It's like Abraham Lincoln. It's ours, and we intend to keep it. That's what he said about Fort Sumter. Okay? Before he even took office, he said, whatever's federal property, it's ours. We're not giving up anything. And if you try to take it, we're going to take it back. And the same thing goes for our landmarks, for our heroes that built this nation. So with a company like BlackRock, Disney even, all the companies they own, somebody has been asleep at the switch about a point of law. Do you remember Ma Bell? Do you remember Standard Oil? Do those things ring a bell? They were all broken up because of antitrust laws to avoid exactly what we're seeing. Entities having so much control and power that they stifle competition, take over businesses, and then dictate prices. But what they're doing in this situation is getting a monopoly on something much more valuable. Our information, our culture, and they're using their influence to change our culture, to infect our politics, to engender hate and division. So BlackRock might end up as a bunch of pebbles. That's funny how they named themselves BlackRock, because I was thinking about the black stone at the that they all go to. What do they call that place they go to? Whatever. The Muslims go, they got that ancient meteorite stone they all have to kiss. And anyway, BlackRock might be reduced, okay? And their influence reduced. So it's not a maybe. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Here, let me see what is your all's take on this little video right here. I'm going to play it a couple of times without comment. This is Trump after his speech. He was asked by the media what he was thanking John Roberts for. They were trying to make a big deal out of it, like he was having inappropriate conversations with John Roberts. And Trump said, I was thanking him for swearing me in after the inauguration. What a great job he did swearing me in. Thank you so much. But you'll see Amy Coney Barrett. It's just a few seconds. I'll play it about 3 times. I think he passed her up for a handshake. I'm not sure. Or he shook her hand and it didn't say much to her. What do you think her attitude is towards Trump? I'll play it on kind of a loop. Tell me what you all think. Yeah, the eyes don't lie, do they? The eyes don't lie. I believe she was in a bad mood. And maybe Trump was thanking Roberts for doing a little test with her. To see if she would jump ship and side with Roberts. Because it was really a non-issue. A non-issue. I don't know. It just, she's not what she was cracked up to be to a certain extent. But I'm going to show you this video real quick. This is what happens when you have people like Nicole Wallace, the usual suspects, engendering hate in people. Here we go. Tesla.
Police tape, bullet holes, and shattered glass. Crews spent the day cleaning up the Tesla dealership after investigators say someone shot it up overnight Thursday, causing tens of thousands of dollars in damage.
When employees showed up to work this morning, that's when they discovered the damage.
Tigard police say someone fired at least 7 shots, damaging 3 cars and shattering windows. Fortunately, it happened overnight when employees were gone.
I think the concerning thing for the employees is that it happened at all, and that one of those shots went into an office and into a computer monitor. Ultimately, we're just thankful that nobody was hurt.
The latest vandalism comes just one day after federal investigators say they arrested a man in Salem for similar crimes. He's accused of throwing Molotov cocktails and shooting at the Tesla dealership there. Like in that case, Tigard police are now working with the FBI and ATF to determine if the latest vandalism is politically motivated. Tesla stores nation.
Did you see the man they arrested? How that person was dressed? Turns out Andy Ngo, where is that? He's on top of stuff like this. Andy Ngo put out a picture of who this person was. Let me see if I can find it. And it is a trans individual. Here we go. There we go. There's a picture with the Molotov cocktail in their hand, dressed up in a burqa to pretend they're a Muslim woman. But see this little girl right there with their finger on their lip. There were 4 other pictures, but I didn't want to put you through it. And you know, a Portland leftist trans activist identified by the DOJ as a masked man in black, who carried out 2 fire bombings and shooting attacks on a Tesla store in Salem, Oregon. Now, if Andy Ngo could come up with this stuff, why couldn't that news organization that we just watched put it up? Suspect Adam Lansky uses the alias Allison Tesla, and in his activism and prawn work. You know, that's what makes me think sometimes, has this country gone too far for redemption or what? Then you've got, here's how about this for a divide? Libs of TikTok. Columbia professor Basil Smikle claims Doge saving taxpayer money is a racist because it targets a government once led by a black man and nearly elected a black woman. This is the left's argument against cutting waste. So, oh, what's that I got on the screen? Oh, that's that Tesla. Let me get that down. I'm starting to take things out of the studio so I don't get confused. It just takes me a few more seconds to delete it from the schedule. And, here's this report about these spies they caught. I mean, to be in office a little over 5 weeks, they caught these characters who were selling secrets, and they caught these leakers with the ICE raids. So they're doing pretty good. We'll see if it keeps rolling, but let me play this video.
Breaking overnight, 2 U.S. Army soldiers and a former soldier are charged on the West Coast, accused of trying to sell military secrets to China, part of an alleged bribery scheme. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio joins us now and has all the details. Nicole, good morning.
Well, that's right. Andrew, good morning to you. Authorities say 3 men are charged in a conspiracy to sell sensitive military information to the Chinese government. And they say several photos prove it. The FBI say this photo shows Jian Jiao, an Army sergeant stationed at Joint Base McChord in Washington, taking photos of military PowerPoint presentations. He's accused of stealing a military computer and dozens of hard drives containing classified details about U.S. weapon systems, many of them clearly marked either secret and or top secret. Investigators say he was paid at least $15,000 for the information. And in a separate case, an Oregon soldier and military veteran are accused of selling details about Stryker armored vehicles. Officials say the men plan to trade the information for payments in cryptocurrency. Now, FBI Director Kash Patel saying these individuals have been charged with stealing America's defense intelligence capabilities and empowering adversaries like China in betrayal of our country. They will now face American justice. Now, one of the suspects allegedly has a warehouse which officials have yet to locate. If convicted, the 3 men could face decades in.
Yeah. The leakers are looking at 10 years. These guys could actually face the ultimate penalty. These guys could actually face the ultimate penalty depending on the extent of what they did. I mean, we've got several that are still serving life sentences. So we got an exposure operation going on, and we're using the truth. And let me get rid of this story real quick so I don't pull it up a second time. There we go. Oh, this is good. New York Post put this out. New York Post, keep quiet. You know, this kid could be I think he is, a role model for preteen kids or teenage kids. Inspirational role model. Dad of 13-year-old cancer survivor honored by Trump calls out Rachel Maddow's bad energy. She needs to shut her mouth. Unquote. That's exactly the way she needs to be talked to. It's not foul-mouthed. It's not threatening. It's just shut your mouth. The father of DJ Daniel, the 13-year-old who was made an honorary Secret Service agent, has no patience for Rachel Maddow undermining his son's movement. Good for you. Have you, any of you all, oh, here's another one. This hadn't been, I got to find out a little bit more about this. Remember, multiple police actions going on with people being arrested. I'm sure there's things going on behind the scenes. I think this business with the South Korean president being arrested was another color revolution financed by U.S. aid and operation carried out by the CIA and rogue elements. We do it all over the place, but I haven't heard a major news service vet this story yet. But keep your ear to the ground. AG Pam Bondi has submitted a request to the FBI to arrest all individuals associated with Nicolas Maduro on U.S. territory. Have you all heard this from a regular news source? Oh, Angela, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate your past support. Yeah, I don't know. It'll get funny sometimes. I'm not sure. But I'm glad you were able to get through. I appreciate it. So you all hadn't heard this. Well, Maduro, what does that mean? All individuals associated. Okay? What if they ever ordered an arrest of all of individuals associated with, say, Zelensky? Well, wouldn't Hunter Biden count? Or whatever. So I'm just saying, I think things are going to pop off. And they're popping off now. There's a lot of things we're not privy to, but we will be. We will be fairly soon. Remember how Trump was talking about Maduro's presidential plane? Don't worry, he'll get a brand new one with all these oil deals they're doing. He knows it's crooked, of course. Oh, where's that report about Hunter Biden? He's trying to get out of a lawsuit. He says he's broke. I got it in here somewhere. It's hard to keep up with. Here it is. Broke Hunter Biden asks judge to toss laptop suit because he's millions of dollars in debt and lost his home in L.A. wildfires. Well, are you friends with Nicolas Maduro? Here's a meme for the folks over there in the European Union. German in jail for a meme. Sure hopes the EU can stop spread of Russian tyranny. Yeah, don't worry about Russia. You're the one sitting in jail over a meme. That'll take me. Let's see. I got a good video of a young lady over in, forget Rachel Maddow and forget Nicole Wallace. We got a pretty girl right here, and it shows you that all hope is not lost.
Okay, so the people who rule us from Brussels have officially lost their minds. Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the European Commission, has announced a new plan called Rearm Europe. And she now intends to send 800 billion euros to Ukraine. 800 billion. It's very clear that after Zelensky visited the White House and basically got told by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, hey buddy, you have too many men dying and we are going to stop being your piggy bank, so you better aim for a ceasefire, that now the European bureaucrats have decided they're gonna do the direct opposite of anything that Trump is proposing, and they are just doubling down. They're doubling down with money, they're doubling down with words, and soon I bet you they will be doubling down by saying, we're gonna send actual troops to the front. We're gonna send our men, our kids to die for Ukraine. Because the people who rule us don't give a flying about us, a rat's ass about us, let me put it that way. That's clear by the way that they've been ruling us for decades now. But these people are so insane that they're willing to risk World War III for their money laundering power grab. Because that's, of course, what this is. And we, the European people, what can we do about it? Ursula von der Leyen is an unelected bureaucrat. She's deciding to send that money by herself right now. 800 billion, I need to remind you. Friedrich Merz, the soon-to-be Chancellor of Germany, is now trying to push a law through very quickly before AfD takes their seats in parliament, because otherwise that law wouldn't pass, to get rid of the German Schuldenbremse, like the debt brake, essentially something that keeps the German government from overspending so they don't spiral into debt, in order to send more money to Ukraine, which otherwise would be illegal. I rest my case. These people are dangerous fools. If they were just fools, that would be one thing, but these people are extremely dangerous. And this is going to cost more lives. First of all, more Ukrainian and Russian lives, and soon I'm sure also ours. Because apparently they've decided that the morally superior thing to do is to take anything that Trump does and do a 180 turn. They're doubling down. Whilst America is off to a great start, we're going down the deep end here.
Yeah, she had an accent. I can't quite put my finger on what her accent is, but she is over in Europe and she's keeping her ear to the ground, apparently, because she's right on the money. When you hear somebody talking about Brussels, they know where this stuff is emanating from and where it's emanated from for the last 1,000 years or 800 years. So I hope she doesn't get in some kind of legal trouble for what she posted. Haha. Yeah, she's pretty. She got pretty blue eyes. And yeah, Ukraine might not disappear, but Putin has warned a number of times that Poland is going to be looking at the other end of Ukraine. Seizing territory west Ukraine, and they're going to, he thinks, pull this business of we're going to come in to protect you. And that means keeping your stuff, right? Well, here, I might as well go ahead and play this because I've got it in my title about final moves with Iran. Trump is of a mind that now is the time and the hour, very quickly approaching on dealing with Iran. You can tell it by the way he's talking. And I really like the way that he's so relaxed and matter of fact. But anyway, I'll go ahead and play it. I don't know what he means by we're at the final strokes. Is he talking about like rowing a boat, or what? But then he says, we're at the final moves.
And that's going to be the next thing you'll be talking about is Iran. What's going to happen with Iran? And there'll be some interesting days ahead. That's all I can tell you. We're down to final strokes with Iran. That's going to be an interesting time. And we'll see what happens. But we're down to the final moments. We're at final moments. Can't let them have a nuclear weapon. I think that I would have had a deal within 1 month after the rigged election of 2020. They were all set to make a deal. And then when I lost, they saw this person who's a stupid person, very stupid person. And they said, let's not make a deal. And they were right. He took the sanctions off. They became rich under Biden. They went from having no money to having $300 billion.
Yeah, he's bringing up that money that Hussein was involved in, and it got taken away, and then Biden gave it back. And you know who else was tied up with that was John Kerry. So anyway, here's Keir Starmer. This is the tough guy that Trump said, you think you could take Russia by yourself? Here's a little clip of him working out on the heavy bag. Boy, he's something, isn't he? That is a tough guy. He's about 1.5 inches taller than Zelensky. Vote Labor. He doesn't even hit like a girl. That's the guy who wants to put Europe at war. Here's Nancy. They asked her what she thought of how the Democrats were doing during the speech. I'm going to play that again. Nancy, she's finished. She's finished and she knows she's finished. Let me see here. These are some truths from Trump. Based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, and they are. Zelensky put out a statement that the Oreshnik objects, they call them objects, those speed of sound missiles we saw, I played the videotape of them. He said they could take the heat of the sun. And I don't know about that. I'm not believing that. But he is pointing out that lasers would be difficult to take them out with lasers. But anyway, I am strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement is agreement on peace is reached. To Russia and Ukraine, get to the table right now before it's too late. Thank you. That made me think about what Trump had said, that he was the only one that knew why Russia would have to come to the bargaining table, that they have no other choice. He said he knows why, everybody knows why Zelensky's got to come. He's out of cards. He said, but with Russia, I'm the only one that knows why. And I'm going to be presumptuous and say that I think I may know too. Remember, how many of you remember Trump filling up our oil reserves when he was president? He topped them off to the very, very tippy top. Remember that, folks? Oh, by the way, this coming week, representatives of Ukraine, Russia, and America are going to meet in Saudi Arabia for peace, the first round of peace talks. Well, take your mind back to that time when Trump filled up the oil reserves that are emergency reserves, right? Strategic oil reserves that Biden later siphoned off to lower the price of gas to get himself elected. How did that come about? How did that come about where Trump was able to top off the strategic oil reserves, which were at the time at a pretty low point? And you know how much he paid for it? Almost zero. Well, that made me remember that Trump had to mediate about 2 years into his administration, back in 2018, I believe. He had to mediate between Saudi Arabia and Russia because they were in a trade war and they were cutting their prices of oil so low that they were destroying their own oil industry. Russia has so much oil. Saudi Arabia has so much oil. And Trump said, I put a stop to it. I got them together and worked something out. He said, gas prices in America are at about $1.95, $2 a gallon. I was able to top off the oil reserves for free because they had so many tankers that were full with nowhere to go. They were producing so much and undercutting each other on prices so badly that there was such a heavy glut that they were risking such an oversupply that it would have damaged the entire oil market. And he worked it out with Saudi Arabia and Russia to get them to quit fighting each other, settle on a price, and he unloaded those hundreds of tankers that people were paying insurance on that were just sitting around growing barnacles, which reduced the supply to the rest of the world, supply and demand. Saudi Arabia reduced their output. Russia reduced their output. Trump diffused the glut of oil already in the pipeline by putting in the strategic reserves, and it got the supply and demand back into balance. We were paying $2 for a gallon for gas here, and Russia and Saudi Arabia didn't destroy each other economically. Now I know why Russia has to come to the bargaining table. Because Trump will tell Putin, if you think it was bad how much Saudi Arabia was producing to drive down the price, you wait till America starts producing. Supply and demand. If there's gobs of oil around and you can't sell it, I want $120 a barrel. Too bad. I can get it for $40 a barrel over here. Light, sweet crude. He's going to have Iran over a barrel. He's going to have, pun intended, I guess, Venezuela over a barrel. Saudi Arabia. They know they have to work with Trump because he's got the Trump card in this energy game, and that is virtually unlimited oil now that Anwar province has been opened up. Am I right or wrong, folks? What do you think of my analysis? Trump might have me picked up to see if I've been eavesdropping or something. But I'm just using my gourd. Kidneys. I'm poking the side of my head. Kidneys. I'm using my kidneys. South Africa is being terrible. Plus, 2 long-time farmers in the country. Terrible plus. That means they're losing their lives. And much worse than that. A bad place to be right now. And we're stopping all federal funding. To go a step further, any farmer with family from South Africa seeking to flee that country for reasons of safety will be invited to the United States of America with a rapid pathway to citizenship. This process will begin immediately. Well, they're talking tens of thousands of people. And what has happened is the people that have lost their farms, and in some cases their lives. You know how people look at something and say, that looks easy. I can do that. I can get all the money myself. And I've said in the past, a professional is somebody who does something very difficult and it looks easy. You don't know what you're doing and you try to do it, it's a nightmare. You can't do it. And those farms are failing. They're overgrown, overrun. Nobody wants to work them. The systems are all broken down. And these farms they've co-opted have been failing. So if they take up Trump's offer, they're going to have a food crisis over there. They don't have people that are trained or want to be trained because they have had, ever since the fall of apartheid, they've had a communist Marxist regime that has been giving out awards just for waking up in the morning, and nobody has the skills, wants the skills, but they think they do have the skills. People are dangerous when they think they know what they're doing. And so anyway, watch what happens as a result of that. Here's a good example. How many of you heard of this little situation in Chicago? In Chicago, where a bunch of government eggheads get themselves in too deep, and they think they cut a good deal with the city's resources. Anyway, have you heard this story anywhere in the regular news?
Did you know that 15 years ago, Chicago made one of the worst deals in U.S. history? It was 2008 during the recession, and the city was desperate for money. So Mayor Daley sold all of Chicago's parking meters to a group of investors from the United Arab Emirates in exchange for $1.1 billion. The deal said that for the next 75 years, Chicago has to pay 100% of parking meter revenue to the investor's company, which is conveniently named Chicago Parking Meters, LLC. Chicago's 30,000 parking meters generate about $200 million in revenue annually, and because the city is sending that money overseas, none of it will go to Chicagoans. If you think that's bad, it gets worse. If any streets are closed for public events like street festivals or the marathon, the city has to pay this company the money they would have made from parking if the streets were open. The deal also says that if Chicago wants to remove even a single parking meter, they have to pay this company the value of what that meter would have generated until the deal ends in 2084. This prevents Chicago from building more bike or bus lanes because it would be so expensive to remove the meters. We have 59 years left until this deal expires, and nobody's found a loophole to get out of it yet. So next time you see how wealthy Dubai is, just know that Chicago parking might have something to do.
Yeah. A foreign country owns the parking revenue for the next 60 years almost. And they have taken the money they got and pissed it away, I'm sure. It's been stolen or handed out for grift. Boy, it's going to be a show for a long time. We're going to be seeing a lot of stuff cropping up of people getting in trouble for grift and stuff like that. The bullet train, all the money in Baltimore, $1 billion to clean up Baltimore that never got done. But anyway, just in, Kash Patel's FBI arrests 3 for alleged treason. I put this up because I'm not sure they're being charged for treason. But this is the bunch that was selling those records. Selling the information out. There's another one that Diamond Silk put up that was interesting. Let me see if I can find it. Oh boy, well, just bear with me for a second. I'm not sure. It might be this one. Let me see. Yeah, this might be it. BlackRock to buy Panama Canal for $22.8 billion. Okay, I already talked about that. They are tying themselves up. They're not going to be able to get out of that one. Let me see. There was something else they put up. Well, if I run across it, I'll put it up. Let me see what Jack Posobiec's got to say. Breaking: Trump considers 35,000 troops out of Germany, redeploying them to Hungary. Oh, Viktor Orban. Viktor Orban. And now this, I give this article credit because Trump had always been getting along with Viktor Orban, and Germany is causing trouble, right? Banging the war drum. Oh, this is about Gene Hackman. Yeah, I already went over that. The autopsy and what it showed. Here we got Trump put this out about, I guess, 3 hours before I went live. Today we mark the official renaming of Fort Bragg with a ceremony. The event will honor the legacy of Army hero and World War II veteran PFC Roland L. Bragg. He said he was. Oh, he had the crypto summit today. Crypto summit, and he brought up doing a digital Fort Knox. Now, I don't know if that was a good way to put it, because we don't know what is in Fort Knox. That might not be the best reference. Let's wait till we get in there and see how much gold we have. What's happening with that? It's been kind of quiet. But anyway, the other thing Trump said was that when he was talking about Iran, he said they got some nice oil wells. Nice oil wells. I don't think he said it when he was talking to Maria Bartiromo, but let me see if that is whoops. Let me see if that's what he talked about with Maria. I think he talked about Iran. Let me go ahead and play this.
There are reports now that Russia says it will help the United States negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran. What kind of a deal with Iran do you want to do? You said they cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah. Well, there are two ways Iran can be handled, militarily or you make a deal. I would prefer to make a deal because I'm not looking to hurt Iran. They're great people. I know so many Iranians from this country.
Well, not the leadership.
No, not the leadership.
The
no,
people.
They're very evil people. No, but the people of Iran are great people. But they had a tough regime, and they'd meet and they'd be shot in the streets. I mean, it was a tough deal. But I would rather negotiate a deal. I'm not sure that everybody agrees with me, but we can make a deal that would be just as good as if you won militarily. But the time is happening now. The time is coming up. Something's going to happen one way or the other. I hope that Iran, and I've written them a letter saying, I hope you're going to negotiate, because if we have to go in militarily, it's going to be a terrible thing for them.
You wrote a letter to the Khomeini,
Yes.
the leader? When did you send the letter?
Yesterday.
And you said you better negotiate, or we want you to negotiate?
I didn't say you better. I said,
Okay.
I hope you're going to negotiate, because it's going to be a lot better for Iran. And I think they want to get that letter. The other alternative is we have to do something, because you can't let them have a nuclear weapon.
Well, a representative from the Iranian government said they hadn't gotten a letter. But I bet you they got it by the time I'm talking right now, if they say they didn't get the letter. She wrote me a letter, said she couldn't live without me no more. Let's see. I'm just looking at the chat, seeing if anybody slipped in while I was talking. Yeah, Alberta. Alberta loses $25 billion a year to Ottawa. That's right. Yeah, and they did say, well, that one representative, I showed an article where he said he wanted a lawyer up there in Alberta. Said he was all down with it. So anyway, let's see what other articles I got. Some of the stuff, I can't read it. But This one, I'm thrilled to announce that Laura Ingraham and Maria Bartiromo will be joining our Kennedy Center board. This completes our selection. We look forward to restoring the center to greatness and ushering in America's golden age. Together, we will make the arts great again. Remember, he fired the person in charge of the Kennedy Center and made himself the director. And after he did that, he put Rick Grinnell in charge. I wonder if I have a video of that. I thought I had a video of Rick Grinnell taking over the Kennedy Center. And, I guess I don't have it. But anyway, that play Hamilton backed out of performing at the Kennedy Center. They claimed that they didn't want to associate with the Kennedy Center because of Trump and Rick Grinnell. We all know the bottom line. They weren't going to be allowed to perform. You remember that play they did, Hamilton? They do a Caesar scene, but they have somebody dressed like Trump, where Caesar being assassinated. That's the way I put it. But I don't have that clip. Rick Grinnell was saying, well, we just want a flipping art center. We don't want all that DEI crap and garbage. Well, here, I'm going to play this one again. Or maybe you didn't get to hear the detailed parts of this. Because this is where Trump signs, if you pay attention to all of it, they call it a comprehensive review of 15 plus law offices for violations of the law concerning DEI. What they're really saying is he's ordering an investigation. Because here we have this popped up. This is that Judge Beryl Howell. Beryl Howell. You've heard that old bat's name before. She claims that Trump relieved somebody of their position on the labor board, and Beryl Howell says he's got to give her job back. An American president is not a king, not even an elected one. And she did a 30-some page, air quotes, opinion, which I can't get into tonight, but it's going to get thrown out. That's just going to be like this guy Hamilton, what's his face, that wanted to stay on as a special counsel and sued. Well, this lady sued, and Beryl Howell, who is in that same clique of judges who have been fighting Trump and trying to keep Trump out of office and persecuting Trump's allies when Trump was out of office. So Trump signed an executive order yesterday to require them from now on to post a bond if they want to disrupt the functions of the federal government with injunctions or temporary restraining orders. They have to post a bond, and if they fail, they have to reimburse the government for losses, and they could, if it exceeds the amount of the bond, they could be personally liable. So apparently this woman got her suit in before that executive order was signed. But anyway, please pay attention to this, and you will hear the new. Let me plug my headphones in so I can hear it better too, so I can comment on it later. But it is, in a diplomatic way, saying this Perkins Coie which has worked with the Clinton Foundation, which has worked with people that started the Steele dossier, which has been involved in who knows how much nefarious stuff. I don't know if they were tangled up with the Podesta brothers. I'm sure, I would bet dollars to donuts they were, because they're like worms in a clump of dirt. But anyway, I'm sure they listen to every word, but I'll go ahead and play it. And I got my headphones in so I can hear it real good and talk about it after I play it.
Your administration has made it a priority both to end lawfare and the weaponization of government, and also to hold those who have engaged in lawfare accountable. One of the law firms that has been involved in that is called Perkins Coie. That's also a law firm that has engaged in unlawful DEI practices. This executive order will suspend security.
And I've watched it take place.
This executive order will suspend security clearances and access to certain federal resources for that law firm, and also launch a holistic review of unlawful DEI practices at some of the nation's largest law firms.
Launch a holistic review. That means an investigation. And he said he wanted to hold them accountable. You know, when you hear verbiage like that, and for violations of the law, for unlawful DEI practices, and for weaponizing the law against their opponents. Okay? So let it keep playing here.
This is an absolute honor to sign. What they've done is it's just terrible. It's weaponization. You could say weaponization against a political opponent, and it should never be allowed to happen again. And you're looking at about 15 different firms?
That or more, sir, yes.
Okay.
$15 different law firms. That or more. So, okay, Beryl Howell can have her fun. They can have their fun with their 100 lawsuits they've got out against Donald Trump now. But out of that 100 lawsuits, how many of them are of this 15 or more? Probably 90% of them. And they are going to be under investigation. They're going to have to crack open their books. And, you know, I know there's attorney-client privilege, but they can't hide who they're refusing to work with, who they are working with. A lot of stuff like that can get them in some big, big trouble. What's this one here? President Donald Trump on Friday threatened Russia with large-scale sanctions. Oh, okay, that's same suit, different bow tie. I already read part of this. Based on the fact, yeah, Russia's absolutely pounding. Okay, I'll get that out of here. Out of here. And that's what Trump said. We're out of here. If they, if Ukraine doesn't want to play ball, we're out of here. That's the terms he used. But anyway, here's a Green Bay school board vows resistance to Trump voting to continue DEI hiring. They want to continue DEI hiring, which they were told is illegal. And Pam Bondi has intimated that people might get charged for doing this. Here's a video of these clowns in their meeting, so-called meeting. And so if they end up in court, here they are, boldly talking about defying the Justice Department and being racist and instituting DEI policies.
I am not interested in canceling programs that celebrate the rich diversity of this district and of this community, or programs that prepare our children for the realities of this world. What I am not interested in is the curtailment of active advocacy and searches for a qualified, diverse workforce. So I am voting no on this one. There is nothing right about this in the spirit of civil rights, civil disobedience when called for. This is one that requires me to say hell no. So I just want to make that clear to my fellow board members. That's my position.
I just want to say publicly that I deplore the behavior that we have been witnessing throughout our country in the senseless, mindless decimation of our federal government. And now we see it in the Department of Education, and now it comes home to our own schools and to our own district. I deplore it. I hate this.
Lynn, I'm on the same page. This stinks. This takes away local control. There's $40 million invested in it, and this is absolutely atrocious that this has to come up. I'm going to plug my nose. I'm going to vote in favor of it, and I'm going to hope that we continue to do the work that we've been doing. We have a threatening letter, which is illegal. I just don't know that I'm ready to fold tonight off of this letter that is not attached to any law that says funding would be lost.
It is my sincere hope that the district's response to the federal government's infringement on local control of our school district is to continue to expand our outreach activities.
Well, just because local control doesn't mean you can violate federal law. And 40 million, that's the first step, is that you just won't get that damn money. And I think they ought to charge somebody. I think they need what we used to call a sacrificial lamb. Okay? A sacrificial lamb. Make an example of somebody. Here we go with I guess this is a TikTok video. And these interviews are going to go a long way to where it's just going to be a matter of fact that DOJ is not cutting Medicare. They're not taking away Social Security. Elon Musk isn't hacking government systems. They're not violating people's privacy. They're uncovering waste, fraud, abuse, mostly fraud. So anyway, this is Harriet Hageman doing an interview.
So is the DOJ program targeted at these bureaucrats?
Yes.
And so what can you expect?
Well, let's look at the Department of Education. The Federal Department of Education has a budget of about $280 billion a year. Less than 25% goes to educating our students. So where does the other $220 billion go? It goes to a bureaucracy. It goes to a consultant, and that consultant then donates money back to the Democrats, and then it goes to a different consultant, and then it goes to an NGO, and then it goes to, it is money laundering and money churning at its absolute best. And you can look at almost every single agency and you will find it. So the brilliance of DOJ isn't that he's going in and cutting spending. He doesn't have the authority to do that. We're the ones that have the authority to do that. What I want him to do is come up with a report, go through agency by agency by agency, identify every single program that we should not be funding, put a number attached to it. We slap a preamble on the front of that report, and we say that every single agency is having their budget cut by X amount as shown in the attached report, and none of those programs can go forward from here on out.
There you go. And she pointed out, she didn't get into detail like we got into the other night. She pointed out that $280 billion, I guess that's the current money budget for education, federal. We were talking about how it jumped in 2022 from $35 billion, went up to 200, now $80 billion. How in 2 years it was almost $500 billion, where it used to be 65, 70 billion. went to $500 billion. So there is something really rotten in Denmark there. Really rotten in Denmark. So let me show you how pitiful they are right now. These protests about Doge, and this is the guy that got fired. I can't remember his name. He used to run the National Institutes of Health. This is a guy at an anti-Trump protest that used to run the National Institutes of Health. What do you think the average American is going to think about this guy? And then when they take a look at Bobby Kennedy and real doctors like Dr. Simone and many others that we've seen. Anyway, this is that idiot at a anti-Trump protest.
We're joined together by this noble dream. Have you got that? So it's just all the good people, but the second line, part of this family, and the last line, we're joined together by this noble dream. Do that with me. This is a song for all the good people. Come on. All the good people who are part of this family. This is a song for all the good people. We're joined together by this noble dream. Well, this is a song for all of those dreamers. We're looking for